who was arrested in his own home and the arresting officer. Time has passed since then. The charges were dropped, but feelings are still raw. The national conversation on race has taken a bit of a racist turn or two en route to tonight's gathering at the White House. The question is, what comes out of this long term? White House correspondent Savannah Guthrie is there covering for us tonight. Savannah, good evening.
Well, good evening, Brian. This might be the most highly anticipated and highly publicized beer ever had at the White House. It just happened, and we can now show you the picture, at least a few moments that White House press cameras were allowed in to capture this beer between Vice President Biden, the President, Sergeant Crowley, and Professor Gates. For most of the time that the press was there, the talking seemed to be between Sergeant Crowley and Professor Gates, while the Vice President and the President just listened. They had their beer, some snacks, pretzels, peanuts. Their families are also here and got a tour of the White House, and I'm told that the interaction between these two men was actually quite warm. As you know, the President has said this is not going to be something about an apology, but an opportunity to listen, a teachable moment. And he said earlier today he's frankly fascinated by the fascination with all this, and he doesn't much care for the way the media has been referring to this meeting. Listen.
I noticed this has been called the Beer Summit. It's a clever term, but this is not a summit, guys. This is three folks having a drink at the end of the day, and hopefully giving people an opportunity to listen to each other.
And as I said, the families got to tour the East Wing and the West Wing while this is all going on. And with this, the President hopes to put this issue behind him. Aides here, as well as the President, acknowledged that he kind of fanned the flames when he stepped into this, remarking on it at a news conference last week. He's hoping they can move forward, Brian.
And Savannah, of all the participants at that table, we already know Sergeant Crowley will be talking to the news media later this evening, correct?
We do expect him to do that, to say something to the media. It won't be here at the White House. It'll be over at the AFL-CIO. And in fact, Sergeant Crowley brought a union representative with him, along with his kids and some family members. At this point, we don't expect to hear from Professor Gates, but of course, that could change.
All right. Savannah Guthrie covering for us at the White House tonight. Savannah, thanks. We turn our attention now overseas, specifically Iran. Tensions that have been simmering